in the years before any invader touched African soil. No invaders, no outsiders at all. We're looking at the elements created in Africa that ultimately is going to go into Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. These elements, spiritual elements, created by Africa. And finally, the coming of invaders and what they did. Now, when people say that what they did in Africa was someone said that they came to Africa and built the pyramids, the people who said they built the pyramids arrived at the 13th dynastic period. Most of the pyramids were built between the 3rd and the 6th dynastic period. They arrived over 1,000 years later. If they say they built bricks without straw, there is no record in African history that bricks were ever built that way. And there's no record where slave labor ever constructed anything as fine as what was constructed in Africa. Now, let's deal with Hebrew myth, a dangerous thing to deal with in and out of the chapter. All right, they came in the 1700s BC. Inasmuch as so much of the Bible is involved with Hebrew myth, and so much of Christianity is involved with Hebrew myth, then let us deal with Hebrew myth. They came 1700 BC. Escaping famine, a bunch of hungry people, Western Asian gypsies, looking for a home. They brought no spirituality to Africa. They brought nothing of substance to Africa. They came and they ate. They got the bellies full. They got land. Some of them married African women, Abraham being one of them. Misused her, literally discarded her. In 1680, Africa was invaded by the Hittites. What position did they take? Did they join their African friends against the first invaders of Africa? No. They joined the invaders. And they rose to high position under the foreign king. Now, I'm not dealing with fiction now, I'm dealing with fact. I'm not dealing with folklore, I'm dealing with fact. They rose to high position under the foreign king. The Hittites called the shepherd kings. This lasted 150 years, almost 200 years. They produced the world's first wheeler-dealer politician named Joseph, called the Provider. Why could he provide? Because he had the ear of the then remaining king. And he could provide for his people because politically he was entrenched. Then, as the Bible said, Joseph dies, his relatives dies, and a king emerged arose who knew not Joseph. Who is the king who knew not Joseph? Now we have to go to straight history. Who was the king during that period? Part of the period it was settled. But the period of the so-called Exodus, I'm using my words advisedly, the king was Ramesses. Ramesses II. Now there's no record of any pharaoh being drowned chasing the Jews across any water. Now how do I find out? I go on this side of the so-called water, and I study the literature of that day. I find no record. And I go on the other side, and I find no record. No record of that many people departing. No record of that many people arriving. No record theory. And yet I look at the Ramesses Dynasty. It is one of the best recorded dynasties in history. Ramesses stumped his toe and made a record of it. Nefertari, his favorite wife, the Nubian wife, thought so much of her, he built a temple for her equal to his own. One of the most beautiful temples in the world and one of the finest temples ever erected in memory of a woman. She goes to visit her relatives in the Sudan, Kush. Comes home, he makes a record of it. And yet, 600,000 people depart from this country and there's no record. And what are we dealing with? Folklore? Or we're dealing with facts? There's nothing wrong with folklore so long as you know what it is and can separate one thing from the other. Now, if some of you came from the South, we have a character called High John the Conqueror. Now, anytime we want something done that we don't have the nerve to do, we assign to High John the Conqueror. We start talking, man, did you see High John slap that white man in the face and he ran like a jackrabbit? Lying like a dog, we know it. Everybody know it. It's folklore. John Henry is folklore. This famous steel driving man. I ran a train. Stories told by John Henry. John Henry was one day old and woke up and people were all having a big feast, and John asked why nobody fed him. Did the family eat? Yes. John's family said, did you feed the dog? Yes. Am I as good as the dog? Then why don't somebody feed me? It's a total lie. John Henry is a figment of somebody's imagination, but at least we know that. All people tell stories to make themselves feel good. And there's nothing wrong with that, so long as you are clear about what you are doing. The Hebrews copied African stories to make themselves feel good and said that was us. Then we come down and believe it. From the story of Joseph and Mary, and I've personally seen it, in the great lodge of Luxor, was carved in stone. And the story existed 2,000 years before Abraham arrived. The The story of Cain and Abel is an old African story, was an old African story before they got there. And there's a whole book of flood stories. Everybody, every culture has its flood story. Now, the Bible is not less a Bible and not less holy because it is part fiction, part history, and part folklore. It is still a book of inspiration. It is still a book of spirituality. And you can separate one thing from the other and keep it. I didn't say throw it out. I say understand it. I think you can get more out of it by understanding it. And what I'm saying is that the Hebrews copied African folklore and integrated African folklore into the book, but they personified it, saying this happened to us, when in fact it didn't happen to them at all. They really said it happened to them. All right, now, when they had to face the Pharaoh, who knew not Joseph, and when he said, those of you who wish to obey African law may stay. Those of you who do not wish to obey African law will have to go. Those are the ones who left Africa. Now that's the origin of the Exodus. All the Jews did not leave Africa because some of them said that they could stay and live under African law. Jews remained in Africa. Some of them were there when the Romans arrived thousands of years later. Now, the Exodus is one of the best known stories in human history. And there is not one iota of proof that it occurred. The Bible is not less holy because of it, but this is a part of Hebrew myth. And it is a good story to teach faith. Whether it is true or not, it is a good teaching lesson. What if we draw the lesson from it and stop worrying about whether it's true? Now, if you know the geography of Africa, you know that was a 16-mile land bridge connecting Africa with Western Asia. When the Jews came in, they walked in. They could have walked out. So they didn't have to leave by water at all. If they left by water, they would have to leave further down. And if they left that way, then they would end up in Yemen. It doesn't go with the geography. Look at the geography. Look at where the land, this is the first Suez Canal. Thousands of years before. The Christian story is one of the most beautiful stories in the history of the world, but you have to separate one thing from the other and keep the story. Don't throw out the story because it is mixed with a whole lot of things that are questionable. You can enhance the story by understanding it and understanding to what extent the story is embellished by folklore. All right, now, 70 people came in. 70 Hebrews came in. 600,000 goes out and still leaves some. Would 70 people create that many people, even if they spend all time creating people? So what we have here is that a lot of Africans, not ethnically Hebrew, became converted to the faith. And they were of another religious persuasion, but not of another ethnic persuasion. And then, at this time, religion was so sharp in the minds of each people. Sometimes a religious person in one religion didn't feel as safe as he thought he should. Though religious tolerance was much better then than it is now. All right, now what did they take out of Africa? They came into Africa without a clear language, without a clear religion, and without a clear culture. When they left, they had all three. Africa had made the Hebrews a people. The early Hebrews became a people and entered history through Africa. And you do not have to